over 100 RBIs in the 2 seasons prior to that. Travis Shaw is a big league player. He's a big league hitter, and now he's coming to the American League East, hitters-friendly ballparks, a place he's very familiar with. Obviously, he played with the Red Sox. So I'm excited. I think this is going to be a really under-the-radar, really nice pickup for this team. Now, can it change? Can it not go well? Of course it can. But, I really believe this is going to be a really good signing. Is he a lefty or a switch hitter? I know he's a lefty, but I don't think is he a switch?
He's a lefty.
He's a strict lefty.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong with any lefties. The Jays are predominantly right-handed bats, and I think they're going to, really use a Travis Shaw. I think it's going to be a really good impact player for this team. Now, that's all assuming everything's going to go smooth and everything's going to go right, and he's going to stay healthy. But again, like we talked about, the signings so far are very, other than the Ryu signing, of course, are low risk, very high reward signings. And I think because the similarities of all the Jays have had, other than the Ryu signing and the Yamaguchi signing, because he never pitched in the big league, like the Roark, Chase Anderson, stuff like that, they've all had at least 1 year in the past 2 or 3 seasons where they've straight up dominated. And I think the Jays want to really try and get that and bring that back out of them. And I'm intrigued on how they're going to do that. Now, with Travis Shaw, I think a lefty bat with power, you can never have too many of those. Whether it be a pinch hit situation late in a ball game or, a first baseman with some pop. Obviously Rowdy Tellez is that as well, but I think Travis Shaw is going to make a huge impact on this team this year, and it's going to be a lot of fun watching this guy.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Travis Shaw is definitely an intriguing upside play, a signing for the Jays. He's on the right side of 30. He's only 29. He can play a little bit of third, second, and first, and even has played left field with the Brewers. And he didn't get the nickname Mayor of Ding Dong City for no reason. He hit 31 home runs in 2017, then 32 in 2018, 100 RBIs in 2017, and then 86 RBIs. He walks quite a few times, which is why his on-base was at 349 and around 345. So if Travis Shaw can get around 25 home runs, 75 RBIs, hit 245 with on-base around 325, a slugging around 480, he's definitely going to be a great pickup for the Jays, and honestly, you can't go wrong at 1 year, $4 million. Then he's also arbitration eligible next season, so they'll get an extra year of control out of him. And honestly, he's going to be slated to play the first base every day. I believe Ross Atkins has mentioned that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he is definitely going to be a nice guy at first base for the Jays. And hey guys, let's hope this doesn't just eliminate the fact that the Jays can't sign Edwin. However, the White Sox, as John Heyman just reported, appear to be the front runners to sign Edwin Encarnacion after the holidays.
Yeah, 2 things you guys didn't mention because you guys hit it all on the head. Travis Shaw is a really respectable defensive player, and especially at the positions when the Jays need him to be. If you look at his defensive numbers for his career, and especially at third base, overall, he's been very capable third baseman. You look at 2016 with the Red Sox, he had a 10 DRS, which is considered to be closing in on, it's not quite elite, but it's very good. 0 is average. He had 3 DRS, +3 in 2017, +9 in 2018, and a +3 in 2019 in a down year offensively. His UZR is positive in every single season, except for one. His UZR divided by 150, same thing. So you look at a guy who the Jays need to play third base. This is an above-average Major League third baseman that they just signed, and a guy who's capable at playing first base. He's not an elite first baseman defensively. The advanced metrics suggest that he's slightly above average, if average. What I mean is average, maybe slightly above average. So he's definitely very capable at playing both positions. The biggest problem with him is that he's not a good hitter against lefties, so that would suggest that the Blue Jays would likely go out and complement Travis Shaw on the right side, and Edwin was a good candidate for that. If not, you could maybe see Brandon Drury sort of play that role, hope for a bounce back here or there, because he's still on the roster. He didn't get non-tendered, and I believe that you'll see that a lot. When they're facing tended pitcher, we'll probably see Drury at third or Vladdy at third and Shaw at the H or something like that, and when a righty's on the mound, we'll see Shaw either at third or first and Vladdy DHing, and you also have Drury in the mix. So I feel like that's how it's going to play out. But yeah, overall, I feel like it's a signing that the Jays can. This we'll look back at this signing and we'll look at it as one of the more underrated moves of the offseason, in my opinion. That's how I feel it'll play out because, as you mentioned, Travis Shaw is a very capable big league hitter. He's had a track record of being a very good hitter in the big leagues not all that long ago. So you can't help but be excited about that too.
And I love that you were putting him into situations where he could play and I think that is a piece of it. A guy that can play multiple positions, having a guy bringing in a guy like Travis, capable, very capable defender, base and even space for that matter, and a guy who can hit home runs, walks a good bit. I mean, for a year at $4 million, what really could go wrong with that? So I'm excited. I'm impressed with that. Byron Atkins for kind of just out of nowhere, just kind of like sliding that signing in. Really nice, kind of dulled down sign. Subtle, nice move for the Blue Jays.
Absolutely, and pardon me. I was going to say that we should head into the mailbag, but I'm actually going to jump because I got to get ready for tomorrow. So sorry for leaving you guys dry, but it was fun doing this podcast and go through the mailbag. Go Jays.
Yeah, go Jays. See you, dude.
See ya. Bye, Mo.
See you, man.
Take it easy. Bye.
All right, now, so we've covered all of our points, and now we're going to be jumping into the mailbag, and you guys had quite a lot of things to say about the mailbag. You guys are obviously excited and hyped to see the Ryu signing, so you're stuck with me and James for now, so we're going to be knocking out these mailbag questions. So, first one is from It's NHL Memes. How hyped are you for Ryu, James?
I'm pretty jacked up. I mean, obviously, watching a lot of his highlights now, seeing Ryu's off-speed stuff, it really play in the American League East. I mean, you saw when Estrada came over, the way his changeup played in the AL East, and obviously with Ryu, his out pitches his changeup. So Jays fans are kind of used to that kind of thing. I'm really excited. I'm extremely excited because this guy has a track record of being very, very good when he's healthy. I don't know. I'm trying to temper my own expectations because we've seen off-season moves in the past fall flat in their face. Let's not go back to 2013 where we thought we were going to the World Series and did playoffs. But with this signing, I think it's an incredible step in the right direction for this team. And I don't know about you, Mo, man, but I'm jacked up.
Man, I'm hyped. I can't say anything less than that. But this is the biggest signing the Jays have committed to a pitcher in the whole entirety of the franchise. And guys, this just proves that the front office is ready to win and they want to contend as soon as possible. So guys, this is the moment. We've been waiting for the Jays to spend money all off season long, and now we finally got our guy. Hyunjin Ryu is going to be pitching for the Jays, and I can't be more excited. Honestly, James, would you think that he's more of a lefty Marco Estrada, or does he remind you of like a Mark Burley type pitcher?
I think he's a mixture of both.
Yeah.
I think he's got a little bit of both in there. I mean, he's got the big boy Papa Burley type of feel to him, but then he's got that Marco Estrada, the filth in his pitches, and I don't know, it's going to be really exciting. I can't wait to watch this guy pitch at Rogers Center.
Yeah, for sure. The off-speed finesse, you can't go wrong with that.
I wonder where the nicknames are going to be coming in, right? Where the nicknames are going to make for him at the Rogers Center and stuff like that. I'm excited for that type of stuff too.
Yeah, it's going to be super fun to watch, honestly. Opening day starter, you think?
Oh, no doubt. I can't see. Who else would win that spot? I don't think it unless he's not healthy.
If he's not healthy,
I think there's no doubt he'll get it. But if he's not, then the question's up in the air at that point.
For sure. Michael.Memolti25 asks, what other players can you see us signing?
Well, I mean, something we hadn't touched on yet before Rob left. I mean, obviously you've heard Mo and probably been all over it. The David Price talks. I mean, that's quite interesting.
Yeah.
Obviously, Ed would be a great fit to come back, especially with Rob talking about needing that right-handed bat to complement Travis Shaw's lefty struggles. But I think if you look at a guy like Ed, I think he's a guy that you wouldn't hurt to have. A guy to have in your team that can play first base a little bit, DH ideally for the most part, and can hit a ton of home runs. And we've seen it over the years, and even saw it last year as well. So I think he'd be a great fit. And going off the question a little bit, Mo, come on, you got to give me something about this David Price stuff, because am I crazy to think this might actually happen?
No, Scott Mitchell actually reported to the TSN that these talks do have legs. And honestly, I would not be surprised if the Jays did acquire left-handed pitcher David Price from the Red Sox. And honestly, if the Jays got David Price and Edwin Encarnacion, it would be honestly amazing. It'd get fans riled up, and it would just be a great atmosphere at the ballpark. And David Price is a hell of a pitcher still, don't get me wrong. He's 34 still, and he's still owed quite a few money. I believe it's $96 million left on his contract. But if the Red Sox could eat a portion of that, trim it down a little bit, I feel like the Jays could be comfortable with taking on a young player, maybe a Jackie Bradley Jr. with David Price, and then the Jays could trade some prospects to sweeten up the deal. And honestly, there is a solid chance that the Jays could get David Price, and I'm looking forward to it if it does happen for sure.
Now, how many years left, putting you on the spot a bit, would Price have on his deal? Like 3 or 4 years.
I believe he's under contract. I believe he is under contract until 2023.
So that's what, 3 more years?
Yeah, and he's making $32 million flat for the next 3 years.
Right, and my opinion, I don't know if I'm going to get your take on this, because I think you were right in around the 96 mark.
Yeah,
$1 million. I think if they can somehow get that thing down to 80 and go kind of like 20 mil over the next 3 years, I mean, I would be totally okay with that.
I'd say
that's what Ryu's making, 20 mil a season. You fire in a David Price, 20 mil.
If they could,
I don't know. Things would look really good. Two top-notch lefties.
If they can trim it down to 75 million, so that can evenly divide at 25, that'd be really nice too. Honestly, because 20 plus 25, that'd be 45 million combined with these two elite pitchers. And honestly, the Jays have the flexibility to do this kind of stuff. So I'd be down for it, honestly.
And I'm just very intrigued to see if Ross Atkins and Mark Shapiro are kind of that ballsy that they want to go for something like this, because I mean it's a big move. You know, this team hasn't really proved anything yet, and to go all out like that, and I don't know what it would cost to get a David Price. Like you said, touching a Jackie Bradley to kind of take on that salary as well makes sense. But if you're doing that, they're going to want a pretty penny back. So it's that part. Well, are the Jays willing to part ways with such prospects for David Price when we really haven't proved anything in the American League East or in the American League at all since 2016? So there's probably so many question marks, so many if, ands, or buts with this possibility of making a deal with the Red Sox. But I'm intrigued, and if I would be totally willing to make a deal like this, I just don't know what the Jays would have to give up in return. Obviously, David Price over the last 3 seasons has not been healthy. This past year was the only season he threw over 100 innings, only 107 or something like that. So there's that. However, it's I don't know, because Ryu has had injury problems as well, as Rob mentioned earlier. So I don't know, man. I think if the Jays can go out there and acquire a guy like David Price and like you said, let's say, for argument's sake, like you said, bring in a guy like Jackie Bradley and sign a guy like Edwin, then this team looks a lot different heading into the season. So I don't know how different they want it. I don't know what's going to end up happening, but a lot of rumblings. It went from literally dead nothing until the Yankees signed Garrett Cole to basically, the Jays being the front of every news website everywhere, sports site everywhere, because of all the news, all the moves that they possibly can make, as well as the moves they are making. So I didn't expect this offseason, but it's quite fun, and I think it would be exciting to get a David Price back on Toronto. By the way, my name's James Price. I already said it. If he comes back, I have a Vladdy jersey, but I would get a David Price jersey. So that's just that. And
there's one thing to think, that if the Red Sox would be willing to trade him to a division rival in the Blue Jays, I believe the AL Central, some teams in the AL Central are interested in his services. But as you were saying, James, they would probably want a top prospect guy. And I'm thinking Jordan Groshans is one guy they would target. And I don't know if I would be willing to give up a Groshans for Price.
Yeah, that's a big. Obviously, Jordan Groshans is the guy that I've been high on. I think Jays fan who looks at the minor league reports and looks at the minor leaguers for this team. Jordan Groshans is a guy that has, since he came to the Jays, obviously was injured almost all of this past season. But when he was healthy this year and last year, the guy can hit. He can flat out hit. He's a very mobile third baseman. I don't know. It'd be tough.
Yeah.
But I think, if you're acquiring a guy like David Price, you run that risk, and you always have to give up something to get something. But there's always that price to pay.